Okay, so good morning, everyone, or afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Flutter class for this week. So last week, Friday, we discussed or talked about networking, implementing the HTTP package, right? So although because network was not very stable, I'll have to retake that topic again. Yeah, so that we can have it recorded for many other persons or trainees to have access to. All right. So basically we did this on Friday, but I'm still going to revise again and get into details so that everything is well recorded. Now we have our packages, HTTP package and the carousel slider, right? Yes, these are the only packages I have here. And then I have this very main folder right here, of which when you create a Flutter project, you have that. So, and I made references to this particular movie website, the moviedb.org. So you create an account, all right, in order for you to carry out this practically at your own end, all right. You create a profile, set up your account, go to settings, go to API, and then do the necessary filling. All right, there are just a few input fields you need to fill in to be able to get your own API key, all right, and your own API read access token. Then you click here. Here should take you to this very portion, this very part of the screen. And then here, I said, here you have your URL for movie, discover movie, right? Then same thing applies here. You have it here with headers, authorization, bearer access token, all right, response. This, the endpoints you get from the back end, with back end. All right, so if you click, I first say that API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface, all right? And it actually lets two applications talk to each other. Now, this movie DB contains information about popular movies and TV shows, all right? So the API is the way to facilitate the app to fetch information from this movie data storage, all right, into our mobile application. So we'll get right into it. So I'll switch over to my VS Code. Now, this is the entry point, yes. And then what I did was, when you run the app, it should display the moving listing widget. Now, this moving listing is actually this. Remember, this is stateful widget, moving listing, all right? Now, we have our final API key. This is mine. So when you register and you get yours, yours should be in here, all right? Yours should be in here. Already talked about the packages you needed, right? And we imported that. Now, an endpoint is a place where the resource lives and where an API URL is. The endpoint here is a URL, right? Now let's look at making HTTP requests. Now, to make a HTTP request, that's why that package HTTP is imported, all right, is used to make HTTP requests in this code snippet. Now, this code returns what? It returns a HTTP response type, all right? A HTTP response type. If response.status code is equals to 200, return JSON.decode response body, or else throw exception. This will only throw exception if the URL, the endpoint, is missing key details, maybe like the API key, or there's a break in the link. All right. So that's what it does. Now, so now this a method. I remember creating this method last time. Fetch movies. It's a method to fetch movies. All right. Now using a try catch. A try catch is to be able to catch errors whenever there's an error in fetching the movie. All right, catches it. All right. So now we'll declare our data. All right. This is a variable data. Await get JSON. Then with a set state, movies equals to data, all right, result. Now this is gotten from where? Because I remember saying that if you want to see what this link is made of, you go to see here. You copy that URL, right? Paste it here, and then remove whatever excesses and add this API-key equal to, this is my own API key. So when you get your own API key, you put it here and it displays the results. These are the results of movies. All right. We have 15 items, total pages 500, total results 1000. All right. And I said that for you to get this view, you need JSON Viewer Pro installed. This is an extension, a Google Chrome extension. You need it installed. If you noticed, it appeared somehow scattered before becoming or looking this fine. That's because this very extension is responsible for that. If I should disable this extension and reload, this is what you'll be seeing, but you can make sense out of this. So that's why you need this very extension, right? So install it down, install it on your Google Chrome, and it will be able to read JSON data clearly for you to make sense out of it. All right. So let's get back to our VS Code. Now, remember, it's actually a list of movies. All right. This is to store the movies. So since it's a list of movies, we make this declaration here. All right. And then feature map string dynamic get JSON. Final endpoint this. Final response equal to await. Now, when you do this and run this very program, what happens? I just implemented a UI that just displays the movies, all right? Just something brief, not something that is catchy, but just to display the movies. So I'm going to go over to the top in trim points and click debug or run, whichever the case may be. Now, I remember saying something about this await. The await keyword is used to make network calls asynchronously without blocking the main thread. All right, that's why it's needed. So anytime you have async here, you must definitely have await. So that while it's fetching the data, it does not block the main thread. Yeah, so this API endpoint is this one. So instead of probably removing this and putting this long URL inside this place, we actually declared it here and then made reference to it in this bracket. So what do you see now? You see that we're having a list of movies displayed. And what is responsible for this? This fetches the data, all right? It fetches the movie. If the response, okay, is 200, it returns json.decode response.body. This is the response you get. I remember saying also that when you make a request, you must expect a response. You should expect a response, whether it's successful or not. At some point, it could be because as a result of network, all right? So now we've gotten a response, and this response, this is the body of the response. Now, this method is in here to extract the results, all right? And then here we call, you see it fetch movies when the widget is built. So when this is built, we fetch the movies, fetch movies, which is this. This is what we are actually making reference to. This is what we are calling in this build to display on the screen, all right? So here, movies is not empty. So if movies is not empty, it should display this text, all right? Movies. But if it's empty, it should display loading API response. This loading API response is a text that will display loading because why? It wants to display the movies. All right, so we're going to move on forward to make a separation of concern. So I'm going to be bringing in a UI, all right, to display these movies. Now, if you notice, this we're not seeing pictures of the movie. We are not. We can see the title. We can see maybe this title. We can see post path. We can see adult photos. You can see so many um, titles here or data. Is a whole lot, but we want to see how we can bring this into a UI. All right. All right, so here is what we're going to do. Now, for this final API key, all right, I'm going to take it somewhere else. Okay. Now I'm going to move from here. Let me say, I'm going to like, okay. Let me start from here. I created a folder APIs, right? And inside it, we have API constant. Now this API constant is going to just be a constant. All right, this variable is just going to be a constant. The API key is going to be constant all throughout the app. So I don't need to be copying and pasting it repeatedly in several screens or files. I just have it here as a constant. Then static final string image part. Now, how did I get this link? I got this link from the movie database. All right. You. This is under guides, all right? Under guides. So if you scroll down, you see images, basics, all right? And here it says how to build an image URL. So what you need to do is read through this. So it's actually here. So this is base URL. Then you need 3 pieces of data. Those pieces are a base URL, a file size, and a file path, all right, for this to work. So what I did was to come here and pick one of these. So I picked this, but only short it to get to this point here. This one is actually an image file, but it only represents one image file. All right. So I copied this and brought it down to this very constant here, so that it applies to all the images for the different movies as we get our response. Then the next file here is api.dat. You see here is similar to what we have in get.json, all right? We have our endpoint here, but this one is for discover movies. Final response awaits this. If response was 200, say, so we'll just pick this and bring it down here. Right? So we're having feature list movie model. Now, instead of dynamic, we're having movie model. Get trending movies, right? Final API response awaits this trending URL, which is this. Now it's having trending. The other one was having discover. So that's the difference between when you want to fetch movies that are trending or you want to fetch discovered movies. All right. So in here we have if API response status code 200. Finally, code data is right as list. Then return the movie model dot from JSON movie or maybe network. But as long as the status code is not 200. Now, this data variable holds the JSON response, all right? Like what the web browser, all right? This. Let me see if this is actually downloading. Let's continue. Now, the result property in the JSON response holds the array of movie listings as JSON objects, okay, which we're seeing here. Of movies.
The call is breaking also.
So I'm going to like come over here. Please, I need to know, is my network, as I'm talking, is it breaking?
Yes, but not anymore. As you are talking now, it's clear.
Okay, okay. It's raining again. I don't understand, like, all right. All right, so now this is gotten from where? It's gotten from, let me go to, from here, all right? This is the model of the movie. It has adult backdrop, right? ID, title, original title, overview, and a whole list. So what I did was to copy this, all of this, and then come over here to paste. All right. And then for each one, I display them, creating a class or movie model with ID, final norm. Of course, these are data class. So int, norm, bool, string, or data type rather. String is a data type, all right? Bool is a data type for yes or true or false. Int, data type for numbers, all right? Or if you're having decimal numbers, num. Then these are constructors, this.id, this.popularity. But if this was to be without question mark, to throw an error, meaning it's required. So put required, and then it's fine, right? So I'm going to reverse that back. Now this is to be able to fetch data. And I said that it returns the ID of the movie, the title of the movie, the overview of the movie, all right, the post part, release date. This, it returns all of this. Now, if there happens to be an error in any of the data, let's say, for instance, the title is not there to display. It displays an empty string, all right? An empty string, meaning this or an empty string, right? Or else you could also do something like this as string. You could do something like this as string, right? Then for some, you could do something like as double for vote counts, because vote count is norm, right? Or integer norm, popularity. I think that should be in decimal points. Use as double. Where are you? Okay, yes. So depending on whichever one you want to implement, yes, but it's actually very okay to do this. All right, so that if there's an error, maybe let's say title, there's always something else to display, not available. All right, so now that we have our model to fetch movies, I'm going to move over to the UI. Though I would have loved to maybe make a simple interface, but let's see how far we can get. Now I had to separate this, bring this into here. So I'm going to like, let's see. Going to uncomment this code. Of course, I'm going to show you the whole steps involved, right? So if I should bring all of this into this, so this one will still be available. I'll just do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to start right from the top. These ones are not needed. So I'll take these ones away. All right. But try as much as possible to always eliminate commented codes that are not needed. All right. So now we have our files imported, our libraries for HTTP, all right, Flutter material, carousel, movie app model, and then APIs. So on our home, we should have movie listing. Then I created a movie provider. Now, this movies provider, all right, is to hold the API. All right, so we're calling in, declaring this API here, which is this very file here. Okay, list movie model, get movies, async, return await api.get trending movies. This provider itself takes care of this. So we're making reference to it and also calling it. All right. Then down in the movie listing now, if you notice, we actually did something like this, list dynamic movies to this above here. If you should go there now to show you, look at it here. This is actually to store the movies. All right. So it's something similar. Then I introduced bool is loading, is true. Okay. String error message in case if we encounter an error. Then int counter, based on the number of times you click a button, all right, more like a counter to show how many times you're fetching movies. Then, of course, we have this method to fetch movies, right? List movie model. Like I said, if you look at this, it's showing that we have a class of movie model. All of this declared inside the movie model. Fetched movies, await movies provider. Now it's going to wait for this movies provider dot get movies. This is referring to this. All right. So it's going to wait for it to fetch the movies. When it sets the movies, what happens? It displays them. All right. So then we go down to the UI. All right. Now in this UI, here I placed in the fetch movies. This calls this method. What I do is I right click, okay, and I'm able to click on it. All right, so let's go down. Now in here, we have scaffold, safe area, single child scroll view, then physics, bouncing scroll physics. This gives it a bouncing effect, like when you're scrolling a series of movies, all right? So I'm going to restart this so that we have it on our UI. Because this is going to throw an error. So let's see. Okay, so this reload. All right, so remember now I'm using a different URL, which is the trending movies URL. Okay, so that's what I want to display. So here we have trending movies, which you have at the top here. And then if it's loading through a container of this, all right, through a container of this with height and then circular progress indicator. This is it, is loading. Else, if error message, then through a height center with this, and icons, an arrow icon, okay, with this size and color, then with an elevated button, we try. So let's say now I go to make a small change on that URL. Let's see. Let's say I just remove 3 and save. I think we should be able to have an error displayed. This it's not displaying the error yet. Let me take it back. Let me continue with the UI. Let's see. All right, so from here onward, we have a wait. And then, of course, I'm going to comment out of this. Now in here, I brought in that carousel slider package .builder. If you want to read about it and see how it's implemented, you can go to the pop.dev website and you see a document on it, how to implement it. All right. So now carousel.builder, item count, movies.length. Now if movies.length is greater than 10, then display just 10 movies. If not, movies.length, meaning between 1 and 10. Then definitely you must have your item builder, contents index, real index, right? This is actually coming from the document, so it's not something like you hold in your head, no. All right. And then I bring this. So now when we have that, we want it to return. That's what we want it to return. Let's say return movie tiles. If we say return movie tiles, inside it will have movies, index, right? Now, this movie tiles is actually supposed to be a widget, but I have not created that widget yet, but I'm going to do so. All right. So here we're having options. Well, inside these options, there are a couple of things. Let's say for this to happen, it has to be carousel options. Okay. Then it should have arguments. These arguments are one height, let's say it's giving us 400, maybe like 450 first. Then if we see that is too much, can reduce that. Then we'll have I'll come to that. Then for height, we have autoplay. We want it to autoplay true. Yes. Then what else again? Let's say enlarge center page. A carousel is like a slide that goes from right to left. Or from left to right. So such that when on the screen, it's enlarged. Okay, so that's what we want. Give it true. Auto play curve. Auto play curve. Let's get that 0. Let's see. Causeless fat out, slow in. A curve that starts quickly and eases into its final position. All right. So autoplay interval. Do you need that? I think we do. The interval, or let's see, I think there should be something about animation, autoplay, animation duration. Okay. Milliseconds. No, let's do seconds. seconds. Let's see, 1. Okay. Then I think we should have scroll direction horizontal, axis dot horizontal. That's how we want scroll to go. Then viewport fraction. Okay. I think this can work too. Let's give it 55. The fraction of the viewpoints that each page should occupy. All right. So if I should make this, let's say, container. Container. Since I'm going to be doing a widget for movie tiles, I'd rather do it in there. So here it's expecting an identifier, right? And what's the identifier? We just did this. Let me put a comma here. All right. So I have this. Here we're going to have, okay. Else. This comma sign. Container. Right, 200. Okay. I think I'll work with this suggestion. So this widget, so size box is better. Okay. So now that that is done, let's see how we can make network requests. That's counter. We want to see where we can bring that counter in here from this int counter. So let's see. And what we should do is here now, bring this adding. Okay. Okay, what do we have here? I think I can go with this suggestion. Okay, so this counter, more like let's say network request counter. Okay, bring this down, and then we have it there. So now let's say we can get the movie tiles. Now for this movie tiles, come down here. But then before we get to that, let's see. Let me create that class. So we have, this is going to be STL, stateless widget, class of movie list. What's the movie list I called it? Movie tiles. Movie tiles. Yeah. Okay, so now this is train rate because too many positional arguments, 0 expected, but 2 found. Try moving the extra positional arguments. Now I'm going to remove this, even though the other 2 is still going to throw error. There's empty. So it's actually fine like this. First, network request counter. So it's making requests constantly. That's why it's still loading. You can see constant requests. All right. So now once we have this, let's quickly just bring in that widget. Let's make the widget complete. So in here we'll have say padding. Okay. Return padding. Adding this. .o. Give it 8.0 or just 8 to be fine, right? And then bring in a child. Inside a child, we'll have a column. Inside a column, we'll have children. Inside the children, we should have flexible, all right? Because we don't want overlapping or those red and yellow lines that the images or text stretches out, because why? The container is too, or the spacing is too small to contain the movie data, all right? So since we have our child is going to be, there's something I need to bring in here, but I'm going to declare a list. I'll find out. Lists, okay. Movie model, yeah. And then we'll have final index. Okay. So now that we have that, we'll need to also have, and this should be here. Okay. Now constructors. is the index part. This dot movies. Okay. So in here, we're going to say movies, all right, index dot, okay, of course we have postal parts. It's not equal to, no, this is for the image, all right, the image for each very movie. And okay, like this, let's see, movies index. Postal path. It's not empty. Okay. What should happen? You have a container. Reason for this is, let's see, okay, and the property is not empty, can be unconditional. So we'll add this here. Okay. So have a container, and this container is going to have a width. It's going to have a width of, let's say, 200. And then let's give it a height of, let's say, 250 or 260. Then the decoration. The decoration of box decoration. Inside this box decoration, let's have a border radius circular. Say 10 will do. And then let's say colors, gray 200. That works fine. Then image. This image should it should be a network image, all right, since it has to do with fetching data. Now, what are we going to do here? We're going to make reference to that API constant, all right? Going to say API constant dot. I think if we're actually doing it well, let's see, image path prefix. Okay. Image path prefix. Can be assigned to the parameter type decoration. Let's see. Why can't it? Let's give it a feed box. Feed color. There's something I'm missing here. What could I be missing? I'll get back to that. Let's see. Of course, you can add filter quality. You want the filter quality of the image to be high. Then maybe a box shadow. Well, I don't know about that. So bring in a box shadow. I should be just gonna bring in this color black, which is work. You suggest a gray. Suggest a gray. And then let's look at this, the image available. Okay. So it's expected something. All right. So now let's see why we're having this image, network image should be a constant. Okay. If I should allow this. Okay. All right, so now that we're having container decoration box decoration, I'm supposed to be able to have, okay, this one to go with image. Box shadow isn't defined. Why? Okay. Image. Decoration. Image. Okay. Okay. Nice. I was missing the point. Yeah. I think I get it now. So image now is going to be, let's see, too many things appearing at the same time. Okay. Right. Okay, so what was missing was the decoration image, right? Because the pictures need to be inside the decoration image. All right, so now something is missing here. Here we're supposed to have this. Okay, so this is properly aligned. What else is missing? Movies. Mm, okay. Just final. Yeah, of course. Is it not supposed to be final? That first save our work. Nothing happens yet. I'm not sure I'm done yet with this. Let's see. Give me container, gray, other charge center. Okay, no image available. And this is what we need. No, I don't need this. So for that child, we'll have let's have icons rather. Comes the movie. Size. Let's make do with this. And what more is he expecting? I'm bringing, say, padding to display the title. I'm going to bring the padding. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay. Maybe to go with this. Should this be here? Let's see. The child. Okay. So now you have that there. Getting it right. Need to find this. Okay. Right. So start this game. False. So which is empty, else network request. Now I need to take care of this loading because there's something that ought to happen after it loads, right? So we are going to have after a network request, a sized box, another size box. So let's have the movie list section. All right. Now let's say if is loading, okay, and where's the and if it's not loading and error message is equal to null, and means that is empty. Movie that is not empty. Okay, what should happen if it stops loading? All right, what should we have? We'll have a list view build, list view dot builder. Okay. They should also have an item count of movies dot length. Item builder. For this item builder, we have the context, okay, an index. Right. return movie tiles. Movies, index. What if we just have only movies index? Then we have an index, we don't have movies. And why is that? Because it's calling these movie tiles. And these movie tiles requires movies, which I actually removed from here. We're going to bring it back. This document is seven. This this cannot return this any longer. This is supposed to be another movie list tile. This is supposed to be another widget, right? So even though I might not be able to create something for that, but I can just have like what do you call it now? Something almost similar to what we have up, but maybe like a change of name. So I'll just copy this. Right, create another widget. But then you can create this in another file, okay? I'm going to name this movie list tab. Okay. Something is missing. Name parameter is required. Okay. Something I think I'm missing here document. Let me see. We have how many times here? Okay. I think I have to take this out of here and bring it here. So let's have override unit states. Right? Yeah. So I brought this one up here, which means when widget is initialized. Okay, so that is done. I want to know why this is throwing an error. These errors are bound to happen when you are actually building. So let's tackle it. It's something we're probably missing. Text movies. This will be having a title of particular movie. So I don't want this here. This is the reason. This should just be like this. Okay. It should just be that way. Yeah. Okay. So what are we now having? Prepare const image by prefix. I think I'd rather just undo one first and leave the other. Let's undo one so that we don't have too many. I'm going to leave this way. Okay. Where's the error? The method, this can be unconditional use because you can be moved. Okay. So we're supposed to be having this here. Yeah, this no check, and it was going to throw an error with this. But I don't actually want that. So let's reverse this over. Okay. Type no is not a subset of type int. Why? Final list model, final list movie model. Okay. Movies, right? And final index. Movie titles. This dot index. Just something let me see. This can be this. Okay, okay. I'm going to use a clip rect. Clip rect. Okay. Okay. I think it's finally done. I think the image was looking a little bit bigger than the container that we're having and overflow, right? So because of that clip rect that I introduced here, yeah, we're able to have this. Yes. So this is the major work of the carousel. The carousel is what is responsible for this. Height, autoplay, true. Enlarge center, true, center page. Autoplay curves, fast out, slow in. Okay. Autoplay animation for every 1 second. Okay. Scroll direction, horizontal. All right. Is there something else maybe I can do to, because I actually think it's very okay. So you can see now it's displaying the movies. Now what we have here is after this network request here down, but then based on this particular, remember this carousel is returning what? Is returning click rate of movie tiles, movies, all right? So if I go here, this particular widget is what is going on here. So movies index.poster path is not null, and movie index.poster path is not empty. Then you should bring in a container of this. Let me see if I can increase this size a bit. And hot reload. Okay. All right, I think it's actually better now. So we have the image decoration image, network image, a constant image path prefix plus movies index.post path. All right, feed box cover. If I should change this to contain, what do we have? This is what happens when it's in contain. Okay. So depending on how you actually want that, the filter quality high with the box shadow of this. So it produces this, or instead this, but it's not bringing this because this is what we have here. Now, if the image part was not actually available, then it's going to bring in this with movie icon. All right. Then here underneath we have padding movies.title. All right. So the title for each movie, Superman, then Happy Gilmore 2. All right. The Fantastic Four, First Steps. So this is what you have here. I think if I can adjust this, let's say make it 10. Or reload. Yeah, you can see the title is reduced. So we're making reference to this text. Now, if you notice, we are not using one title because usually before now, when you're putting a title, let's say I comment this, you're going to bring in something like this, no title. Right? Now you can see it's appearing in all places, no title. That is because this is a fixed string, all right? But it's supposed to be dynamic. It's supposed to be fetching the title from that particular endpoint. So that's why we don't have this here, but rather we have this, okay? So it's actually fetching. It's making reference to that model, this model, all right? I think we have title here, title. We have title here. Then if you wanted to also show other things as well, let's see if you can do that quickly, you know, in this particular screen. I'm going to see this now, or no. So let's bring in this, and then I'm going to see how I can maybe bring in a something almost similar, right? The only thing I'm going to make changes to is, let's say I'm going to make it a list style. I'm going to make it a list style, so I'm going to this required. Okay. So let me make some changes. So this container, I'm going to take out, let's see. I'm going to bring in, because I'm still going to bring container, but with a margin. Right? Let's say I'm going to bring in only bottom. And this only is going to be bottom. Make reference to index. Okay. Movies length -1. Movies dot length. Okay. So for have that, in the movies, the length -1, then we have Okay, button navigation height. Let's say times 1.5. Okay. um, let's leave that there, and then let's see. Okay. If we had this, I'm going to introduce CK button navigation height. But then before that, let's have let's see. If we have a button index, right? Oh, okay. Let me see something. All right. Okay, so then you should have a child. This child should be bringing in a row. This row should have what is happening? We should have children. These children should be clip red. Okay, now we clip red. We bring in let's see. Okay, what do we have in here? I think I can work with this. Let's see. Let's look at it very carefully. Border radius of 10, image.network. All right, then this width and height. Let's make this 60. Let's see. Let's make this 60 fit of a box. Okay. Error builder. Okay. All right, fine. So I think we can actually work with that. The next thing we have is sized box. So if we have a size box, I'm going to take this out. I don't actually need that. This size box is going to be, I'm going to bring in an expanded widget. Inside this expanded, we have child sized box. Okay, and let's say height 60 again. So you have 60, then you have a child, and bring in a column. Let's see. Let me see how fast can cover this text. Okay, visual. This no title. Then I don't want a text. I want a row. See what we can do with this. I'm going to also remove this because I think we need those two. Right. So we need to place that. Do we need this? No. So it's actually looking for this. And this is supposed to be like a sized box dot shrink. Okay. All right. So if we have this, and it's properly aligned. So we have a, let's see what this will give us. We have to reload, right? Did I comment? I think I commented that out. Let's go see where it ought to display from. Okay, here. To display from here. So I'll save this. So let me do reload. So this copy point was given unbounded height. Okay. Now let's see where that error is coming from when it comes to this. Unbounded height. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Let's see. First box. Is this? If I remove this heights, let's see. let's see if I should, let me leave this out first. And let me do with this. If I should do 14. Column wrap instead. Okay. First of all, we have a padding. Let's make this 16. We have a padding column, right? Then, of course, okay. I think I see where challenge is coming from. We have column here. The column was supposed to have a container. So let me remove this flexible from here. Remove these widgets. Still having that. Okay. What is it we're missing? Because they are calling, we have container, margin, bottom, all right. Okay. Chart row. Okay. So if we have this, we need this now. For volume is fill not do it. Expanded size box. This column, right? Children text. Yeah. So sitting. And a scrollable widget is nested inside another scrollable widget. Okay. If this widget is always nested in a scrollable widget, there's no need to use a viewpoint because still space no vertical space. Viewpoints. Because there'll always be vertical space. Let's see. With this error is coming off. So let's fix it and see. I think this is supposed to be like where release view builder. Turn in this view builder. Okay. Let me see if I can wrap this with a padding. This is symmetric. Give it vertical. This Does this change? Okay. Session error. Let me introduce filtering error. If I bring in a shrink wrap, let's see, true. Would this help? No, it doesn't. Okay. Okay. All right. I can see. Okay. Shrink wrap true. Physics not square equals school physics. So if we actually have this, then that means where I'm having the issue is maybe in here now. I should bring this to 2. Okay. So you can see, so you can see that we have it displaying this separately, which is this. We have this title, right? Let's see, we can, I don't want this height to be, let's see. What else can we have here? Center is okay enough. So what if I brought in this other row? Okay, we'll be having a button here. And the reason for that is probably because of this height. So let me bring in this height. Okay. All right. So you can see now that we have included a star icon, which takes the vote counts. This takes the number of votes, right, that people have actually voted for this app. So it's counted it. Of course, you can bring in other, remember this vote count is in our model. Okay. So each time you want to display any of this data, you make a reference to it via this movies index dots and do let's see, release dates. If we do release dates, let's say Yeah, the date it was released. This was released 23rd of July. This was released on the 25th of July. These are trending movies. Yeah. Now, for a way to actually test or see what network request counter, you need a button that when you click, it calls this counter several times. You see it count 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, so if you have questions, all right, you can drop them on the Discord channel. I'll be available to attend to your questions, and also expect your next task, okay, for this week. It's going to be based on this networking, all right, see how you can actually get, post, delete data. But it's going to be simple, just with a simple UI, more like anyway, when you get it, you should be able to get over it. All right. So this video is going to be uploaded on YouTube channel for you to watch. Okay. I'll stop recording now.